I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about this breakup is making me crazy. Well, breakups can often make us feel completely out of control in our life, and you feel like your entire body is being hijacked and you have no control of it anymore. You have such overwhelming, intense physical pain, emotional pain, anxiety, depression. It's absolutely horrible. The way you feel is one of the worst feelings I think you could feel as a human being. That loss, that separation anxiety is so intense that it often makes us do things we are completely embarrassed about. And many of you guys know that you have done things that if anybody knew, you'd be really embarrassed. Stalking them. I've had people admit they've gone up to their ex's house and staring in the window, sneaking into their house, breaking into their house. All kinds of behavior that makes us feel completely out of control. We become like borderline psycho, right? We just lose so much control of ourselves and we feel like we can't even help it, right? It happens, and many of you guys are not going to sit there and admit it, but I guarantee a lot of you guys are doing things that you wouldn't want anybody else to know. And some people are brave enough to admit it in their stories, some are not. But really, it's so intense, the feelings that we have, that we just feel out of control. Emotionally, we are just lost. We may blow up their phone 500 times, begging, pleading, all kinds of stuff that looking back when your emotions calm down and you're thinking clearer, you're like, I cannot believe I even did that, right? So some of the symptoms that people often have with a breakup and that intense abandonment trauma is outbursts of anger, right? Some people just become really upset and they start lashing out, screaming and yelling at other people, especially if you've had a lot of trauma in your early childhood. They are extremely sensitive to perceived rejections, abandonment, exclusions, or criticisms. It can really mess with our internal self-control, right? We have the obtrusive and obsessive thoughts where we can't even shut it off, no matter how hard we try. It's like we're desperately looking for anything to calm ourselves down, and we feel like we have nothing. It's really, really difficult. Obviously, we have the physical pain. One of the worst things for me was that feeling of just a giant gaping hole in my chest. It literally felt like I had no chest. All I had was this giant hole, and everything was ripped out of me. It was the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. Obviously, the depression, the anxiety, and there's a lot of symptoms that go along with this that makes us feel out of control of our body, out of control in our mind, like we're completely a hostage, and it makes us go crazy, right? Or we feel crazy. And so I got a good email with somebody who is willing to share an embarrassing story. So good for her and props to her. Let me read it for you guys. She said, "Hey Craig, I'm not ready to share my full story yet, but I did want to share a warning to everyone. I also wanted to thank you for your amazing videos. Both you and Margaret have changed my life in ways I could never have imagined." Well, thank you so much for the compliment and the kind words. I really do appreciate that, and of course Margaret does too. "I'm 33 years old and my ex is 36. We dated for about 9 months and started having problems around 6 months in. Looking at your videos, I can see how I was truly a huge part of the problem. I'm still really depressed over my situation, and I've found myself beating myself up badly. Like most people who discover your channel, I wish I had found you sooner. I hear that every day. Everybody just has to say it. They're like, if only I had found you sooner, I would have done everything so much different. But I could tell you guys, had somebody shown you my video before a breakup, you probably wouldn't have been that interested. But that's okay. You're going to use these to improve your life now, and that's all we can focus on, right? But more than that, I do not do what you suggest a million times. I was too stubborn to ask for help, and now I am kicking myself. You're going to feel so much better talking to Margaret or myself about your situation. She said, my ex broke up with me in late November. He was tired of all the fighting. Fighting which I had mainly caused by my controlling behavior. I had found your channel and became obsessed. You are a breath of fresh air. I had been watching your channel for months. I had gone to your website a ton of times and I said I would sign up for a coaching, but I never pulled the trigger. I thought I could do it on my own. I was convinced that if I watched your videos as long as and some other channels as well, I would be fine. I had told my friends and family about your channel, including a friend from work who was also going through a breakup. Well, they did do a coaching with you about a month ago and have slowly started to turn things around with their ex. They kept telling me to do one, but I was listening to some of my other friends that said I didn't need it. Here's the worst part. They said they loved you and kept trying to get me to sign up for a coaching too. But again, I wouldn't listen. It's odd because all I did was watch your videos day and night. Why would I not want to talk with you? Ugh. I understand the frustration. You know, breakups are such a confusing time. I get it. Don't beat yourself up. There's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is focus on what we're going to do here on out for all of you guys out there too. It's very easy to beat yourself up, and I was really, really bad about that. I mean, when I would go to Margaret and I would sit there and explain to her and take all these things that I did and blame myself for the breakup, and realizing now that I really wasn't a lot of the problem. A big part of it was that they had an avoidant attachment style and they tended to distort things too. But I didn't think I would hear from my ex again or ever have a chance. Well, that's a big problem that a lot of people have, is that they believe they're never going to have another chance, and then it happens and they're not ready for it. And I'm going to do a video on how breakups are unpredictable, and I think it's going to help you guys. She says, well, it was worse. I bumped into him while I was out having a few drinks. I have been drinking a lot more than usual because I hate the way I feel all the time. One of my friends convinced me that we should go to a bar he frequents. You know this is not going to go good, right? She went with me. This was such a horrible idea because she'd been getting me more angry and upset about everything for weeks. Okay, so this is why I try and warn you guys about friends and family. She's giving you a bad idea here, and she's getting you all upset. I don't know what she's telling you, but I'm sure this is not going to go well. Plus, alcohol's involved. She goes on to say, well, I did. I saw him with a girl and I lost it. Okay. That would be pretty common, I think. You got alcohol in you, you got a friend. I don't know what she's doing. You're getting you all riled up about the situation. I don't know what came over me. I just started shaking and couldn't think straight. That happens a lot. I hear all the time about people when their ex finally does contact them or they see them or whatever, they're shaking and they just feel out of control, right? Just overwhelming fear, anxiety, complete fog. They just can't even think how to handle things, right? Really, really common. She was sitting so close to him and kind of leaned in, and that's when I snapped. I threw a maraschino cherry at his face from across the bar. At first, he must have thought I was joking and looked happy but startled to see me. Before I knew it, I started screaming at the girl and grabbed her hair. We started fighting. Ay, ay, ay. Now this poor girl is getting dragged into it. Who knows who she is? If she's seeing him or not, whatever. You just started attacking her. I haven't been in a fight since high school. I was out of my mind. Well, I don't know how much you had to drink, but I'm sure that didn't help. That was rock bottom. Someone scratched my face and I got dragged out. Fortunately, I do not have any legal charges. I have no idea what came over me. I'm a professional and could have lost my career over this. I feel like an absolute fool and have never been more ashamed of myself. Breakups do make us do crazy things, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be laughing in the comment section, but you know what? I give you props for admitting this and trying to help other people, because there are a lot of people out there that share things with me that I cannot talk about in videos that are not quite this bad, but they're pretty bad, right? I mean, so, you know, guys, she's trying to admit here that she's got a real problem. She's drinking a lot. She's losing complete emotional self-control, and she hadn't gotten any kind of help for herself. I will never forget the look on my ex's face as I was being dragged out. That I can just imagine, right? That's going to really haunt you, I'm sure. I didn't get help. I need it. I found a local therapist recently and will go weekly. Good for you. That's great. That's what you have to do here, is you have to talk about it, right? And stop talking to your one friend. She's not going to help you. I also intend to do coachings with both you and Margaret until I heal and start to feel better. I want to let everyone know that your biggest regret you may have is not being proactive in getting help for yourself. And that is true. Whether you decide to work with me or Margaret, that's up to you, but do get yourself some help, because breakups are so traumatic and it feels so much better to talk about it. That's why I went to Margaret twice a week when I was going through my breakup, because you just feel like your emotional health is bottomed out, right? I mean, I can't think of a time worse in my life than going through some breakups. And, you know, it really will make you do things that you wouldn't want people to know about. And, you know, you see it on the news. I mean, sometimes people do like murder-suicides over and do crazy things like that. I mean, sometimes we just lose all balance internally, right? And we're just lost and confused, and we're scared, and we're angry, and we're hurt, and we're traumatized, and we're sad, and we feel guilty, and it's just a lot, and it really can make you feel like you're going crazy. And that's why, actually, this woman is getting help and feeling out of control. I'm sure many of you guys feel out of control, at least have felt out of control at some point. And I know those intense, overwhelming feelings of anxiety and physical pain, that makes us feel out of control, because we can't make it go away. It's like no matter what we do, we try and exercise, or we try and go to a movie or do something like a hobby or an interest that we enjoy, and none of those things are fulfilling because the trauma is just so intense and so severe. So obviously she's been in a tough situation and she's getting help for herself, which is great, and I do appreciate her sharing that difficult story. And I know I laughed a little bit at some of that because some of it was kind of funny just for me to visualize. But obviously, I do hope that getting that therapy, and when we talk in our Skypes and when you do Skypes with Margaret, that we really help you turn things around and start to feel better for yourself. So, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching. I do Skype coaching. If you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. Margaret is also available for Skype coaching now too. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.
Hi, I'm Coach Margaret, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist with 35 years experience. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. If you would like professional help with your situation, please contact us at askcraig.net.